We talk to the mother of a murdered teenager who's tackling a deadly myth among children who are carrying knives.
With guidance and with education, we can make such a big difference instead of them just being left to deal with it themselves.
Also on the programme, tackling the dental crisis, how one London borough is investing millions to provide NHS dental care to more than 5,000 patients a year.
And after bringing you the story of the Londoner facing a £1,000 fine for fly tipping an envelope, we'll hear your reactions and questions.
Ready, and look at the star. And on the eve of the big day, we hear from one of the singers in the Children in Need choir. A police motorcyclist who crashed into a pensioner whilst escorting the Duchess of Edinburgh through London has been found not guilty of causing death by careless driving. Helen Holland died 2 weeks after she was hit in the crash in 2023. And Transport for London has confirmed that from January, electric vehicles will have to pay the congestion charge. Critics say it will deter people switching to cleaner vehicles. The Mayor says it's necessary to ensure the scheme remains effective.
A mother whose 16-year-old son was murdered is calling for more education about the risk of carrying weapons. Kamari Johnson was attacked last year in a row over a stolen moped in Hayes in West London. His mother, Catherine Johnson, says young people who feel unsafe or angry need to understand that carrying a knife is not the answer.
It starts with conversations, whether you're talking to parents, whether you're talking to family members, it does just start with conversations. So firstly, I would advise just to talk to somebody. You don't have to tell them everything that you've got going on, but just express what you're going through and there may be help.
Now, Transport for London has confirmed for the first time electric vehicles will have to pay the congestion charge. From January, the charge for diesel and petrol vehicles will increase to £18 a day. And for the first time, electric cars will be charged £13.50 a day and electric vans £9. Critics say it'll stop people switching to cleaner vehicles. The Mayor says it's necessary to ensure the scheme remains effective. Now, it's not long to go now until the BBC's Children in Need fundraising programme tomorrow night. And one of the key moments will be the Children in Need choir. This year's choir will star 14-year-old Eleanor from Hampton, who's living with an inoperable brain tumour. This has caused her to become visually impaired. She's one of the many children who've been supported in their life by Pudsy's projects. Eleanor's really excited to perform.
I try not to be negative because a lot of negative stuff has happened to me, but I don't want to focus on that. I want to focus on all the good stuff that I'm doing.
Now, yesterday we brought you the story of Loretta Alvarez from Feltham, who was fined £1,000 by her local council for what they described as fly tipping an envelope outside her flat. Well, we've had quite a response from you all with hundreds of messages sent in. The big question, how does dropping an envelope constitute fly tipping? Well, Laxmi Gopal is in the London lounge to update us. Laxmi.
Alice, yes, a quick reminder first. Loretta said she dumped a cardboard envelope onto a pile of boxes and rubbish that others had already left next to the building's communal bins, which were full. Here's her reaction to the fine.
I saw the £1,000 and I was just like ready for one. And the first thing I thought was, it wasn't a mattress, it wasn't a fridge freezer, I'd understand, but just this A4 kind of size envelope thing for £1,000. I just, yes, it was horrible.
Well, Hounslow Council says whether it's one envelope or a huge pile of rubbish, it's still a £1,000 fine, and they say it acts as a deterrent. Well, many of you responded to our interview with Loretta. Here are just some comments. Rebecca says councils are using these penalties to plug their funding gaps. George says it should be a £1,000 fine to the council every time the bins overflow. And another comment says it's good, actually, though maybe the fine could be smaller, but says you can't have rubbish being left outside to blow away. Now, Hounslow Council has shared images of larger scale fly tipping in the borough. They've had a clampdown and this year increased the maximum fine for fly tipping to £1,000 and for littering to £500. What's the difference, you might ask? Well, it's a good question, and one that Hounslow Council's leader answered like this on BBC Radio London this morning.
actually it could be anything from a small envelope, as in this case, to a large settee. I think for me the distinction between that and litter are things like chewing gum and cigarette butts and crisp wrappers, which are discarded on the public highway.
Now, if that might not sound like a very concrete definition, have a listen to the definition I found in a parliamentary briefing this year. It said that fly tipping isn't the same as littering, but says that littering is commonly assumed to include materials often associated with smoking, eating and drinking. So there you are. And if anything similar has happened to you, get in touch with us. Hello BBC London at bbc.co.uk. Alice.